Dear friends, welcome to Quest for Knowledge. In this video, we are going to discuss recursion in Python using some code segment. So let's begin. So when we talk about recursion in simple terms, it is a process in which a function calls itself. When we talk about syntax, here you can see we have one function named addRecur. Inside this function, we are invoking this function itself. You can see addRecur we are invoking. So when a function calls itself, it is known as recursion, and outside this definition we are invoking addRecur. So when we will invoke addRecur, it will call this function definition, and inside this function we are invoking addRecur. So this particular concept is known as recursion, right? And this calling is known as recursive call, right? Now let's understand recursion using some program. So before jumping into program directly, let's understand how to calculate factorial. So to calculate factorial of any number, we multiply from 1 to that number. So for example, to calculate factorial of 5, we multiply 1 into 2 into 3 till we get 5, or we can say 5 into 4 into 3 till we get 1. So after multiplication, it is equals to 120. That means 5 factorial is equals to 120, and factorial is denoted as this exclamatory sign. So in general, we can say to calculate n factorial, we multiply 1 into 2 into 3 till we get n. And 0 factorial is always equals to 1. Now let's see program to calculate factorial. So here in this program, we have one function named factorial. It takes one parameter. So here we are calculating factorial without recursion. So now definition starts. Here we have one variable named fact. Its value is 1. Now we are iterating because we need to multiply to calculate factorial. So here condition is while n is greater than 1, because initial value of factorial fact is 1. So now this iteration starts, and here we are storing fact into n to fact. So fact initial value is 1. Initial value of n will be number. So we are multiplying and we are storing to fact, and next we are decrementing value of n by 1. So for next value of n, it will check the condition, then it will calculate the product and it will store to fact. Again it will decrement the value of n, and this loop will go on till this condition is true. And after this loop, it will return value of fact. So this function definition ends here. Outside this function definition, we are taking one variable named x, and initial value of x is 5. Now we are printing factorial of x is, we are invoking factorial function with one parameter, that is x. So with value 5, it will invoke this function and it will calculate factorial of n, and it will print factorial value of this n. So when we run this code, output will be, it will print factorial of 5 is 120, as we have seen how to calculate factorial. So this will be 120. In similar fashion, we can calculate factorial of any number. So this is the program in which we are calculating factorial without recursion. Here we are using simple iteration statement to calculate factorial, right? Now let's see how to calculate factorial using recursion. So here we have function named factorial. It is taking one parameter, the number of which we are going to calculate factorial. So as we know, in recursion, function calls itself. So we need to give the termination condition or base condition in which recursion will end. So here termination condition or base condition is when value of n is 0 or when n is 1, it will return 1, right? And in else case, it will return n into, and it will invoke factorial with n minus 1. Right? Here factorial function calls itself, so it is recursion. Outside this function definition, we are taking one variable named x, its value is 5, and we are printing factorial of x is factorial, and we are passing x to it. So initial value of x is 5, it will go to this definition part. First time this condition is false because value of n is 5, it will go to else statement, and here we are writing n into factorial n minus 1. So for 5, it will return 5 into factorial 4 because n minus 1 is 4. Now it is calling factorial 4. Again, this condition is false because value of n is 4. It will go to else statement. Again, it will return 4 into factorial 3. Now it will again invoke factorial with value 3. Again condition false. It will go to else statement. It will return 3 into factorial 2 and so on. So this calling will go on till we get this base condition. So when value of n is 1, it will return 1, and we will get the factorial of x, and here value of x is 5, so it will print factorial of 5 is 120. Now let's understand this recursion using diagram. So here we are invoking factorial with value 5. Inside factorial 5 we have else statement. Inside else we are returning 5 into factorial 4. Now we are invoking factorial with value 4. So again we have else statement. Inside else we are returning 4 into factorial 3. Now we are invoking factorial with value 3. So it will go here. Now inside function we have again else statement to return 3 into factorial 2. Now we are invoking factorial with value 2. So factorial 2 will return 2 into factorial 1. Now again we are calling factorial with value 1. So factorial with value 1. Now base condition is true because value of n is 1. Right? So it will return 1 to factorial 2. So 2 into 1 is 2. So factorial 2 will return 2 here. Now 3 into 2 is 6. Now factorial 3 will return 6 to it. Now 4 into 6 is 24. Now factorial 4 will return 24 to here. Now 5 into 24 is 120. So final value it is going to return is 120, right? Now you can see over here to calculate factorial 5, this is the invocation. So first of all it is calling factorial 4, then factorial 3, then 2, then 1. So when base condition is true, it will return 1, and so on. It will return the corresponding value of factorial, and it will give the final value as 120, right? Hope this program and output is clear. If you have any doubt, any query, you can write me in the comment box. Now let's understand another logic to calculate Fibonacci sequence. So any sequence of this kind is known as Fibonacci sequence. So here 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8 and so on is the Fibonacci sequence. So in this sequence, first two terms are 0 and 1, and next term is calculated as sum of previous two terms. So here you can see third term is sum of first and second term, that is 0 plus 1 is 1. Fourth term is sum of second and third term, that is 1 plus 1 is 2. Next term, this 3 is sum of 1 and 2, that is 3. 5 is sum of 2 and 3. 8 is sum of 3 and 5, and so on. So next term will be, you can guess, that will be 5 plus 8, that is 13, right? So this type of sequence is Fibonacci sequence. Now let's understand the program to generate Fibonacci sequence without recursion. Here function is Fibonacci. It is taking one parameter, and this parameter is number of terms to be generated. Here we are assigning A and B with values 0 and 1. So this is multiple assignment syntax in Python. We are printing value of A and value of B. So 2 terms we have printed. Now we need to print n minus 2 terms. So here we are using for loop, and range is n minus 2. We are printing value of s, and here s is sum of A and B, that we have already discussed that the next term is given as sum of previous 2 terms. So here we are adding A and B, and we are printing value of s. And next we are assigning B to A and S to B. So new value of A will be B and new value of B will be S, right? So in next iteration, again it will print A and B with new value, and it will print value of S. Again it will assign A and B with B and S, right? So outside this function definition, we are invoking Fibonacci with value 10. So it will generate 10 terms of Fibonacci sequence. When we run this code, output will be, it will print 10 terms of Fibonacci sequence, right? Hope this program is clear. Now let's understand Fibonacci sequence with recursion. So here again we have function named Fibonacci. Here we are passing one parameter to it. So if value of this n will be less than equals to 1, it will return n. So here this is the base condition. In else case, it will return Fibonacci n minus 1 plus Fibonacci n minus 2. So here Fibonacci is calling itself, hence it is recursion. Outside this function we have one variable named terms. Its value is 10, and we are using for loop in range terms, and we are printing Fibonacci I. For 0 to 9, it will invoke Fibonacci. So for Fibonacci 0, it will go to this base condition, value of n is less than equals to 1, it will return 0. Next value of I will be 1, it will invoke Fibonacci 1. Again this base condition is true, it will return 1. So 1 will be printed. Next value of I will be 2. So it will call Fibonacci 2. Here base condition is false. It will go to else statement and it will return Fibonacci. So 2 minus 1 is 1 and Fibonacci 2 minus 2 is 0. So it will call Fibonacci 1 plus Fibonacci 0, and accordingly it will return the result, right? So when we run this code, output will be, it will print 10 terms of Fibonacci sequence, right? Hope this program is clear. Now in Fibonacci we have base condition. So Fibonacci 0 will return 0 and Fibonacci 1 will return 1. In case of Fibonacci 2, it will invoke Fibonacci 1 and Fibonacci 0, and it will add both the values and it will return the addition to Fibonacci 2. So it will print the next value of Fibonacci sequence, and this process will go on. So using recursion we can print Fibonacci sequence. So these are the advantages of recursion. As we have seen, we have smaller subproblems, we have clean code, and sequence creation is simpler. When we talk about the disadvantages, we have a logic that is hard to follow, that recursion logic is hard to debug, and it takes lot of memory and time, right? So that's all in today's video. If you have any doubt, you can write me in the comment box. Thank you so much.